Is this a institutional corruption? Is this a systematic collapse?
No mainstream media has covered the story, even though there are enough evidence on the table indicating that someone from the government of Alberta government was involved or is involved. There is this unscrupulous immigration agents in Jalandhar. So around the same time, so they decide to buy a college, a private college in Calgary. Students were sent over here in a non-credit courses.
Yes.
Now, some of those applications were actually submitted by Pyramid E-Services by themselves. So that's a major conflict of interest. They were charged around $20,000, $18,000 to $20,000 on an annual basis. So 2-year course would cost around $36,000 to $40,000. Now, had they told them the truth,
The Alberta government says that these students, they were aware that these are the non-credited courses.
a college that is located in a town that's populated only 8,000 people is inviting 5,000 international students.
If you have an expired status, you just have to leave, and giving a study visa does not give you authority to stay in Canada.
Basically, we are talking about a body, a department, which is itself infected, right? And now we are punishing the people who are the victim of this fraud, and we are not addressing who are the real culprits.
There are a lot of private colleges.
Yes.
There is a lot of nexus between private and public sector.
There are over 1,100.
And we had seen that immigration consultant, they have opened an employment agency with the same name.
Yes.
They have opened a college, and there were incidents of the extortion because everything is interlinked.
They want people to think that, you know what, we have gone strict and we have taken control of immigration, and see, that's why people are protesting. Cbsa is there to raid only the people who are protesting on the roadside. I think even they have become very lazy. They just want to target the people who are easy targets, right? Just go pick them up, fix the system. As simple as that.
Okay.
You won't resign.
Expired work permits in Canada. We have Mr. Cbsa who has kept a close eye on this issue. It is going across Canada. Protests are going in Alberta, but we had seen the protest in Ontario also before this. So let's welcome and talk to the Cbsa raid which happened on the protest site in Alberta. Mr. Cbsa, welcome to the show.
Thank you for very much having me over. And I hope that through this discussion, we are able to shed light on some very important topics and some background into what exactly is happening.
Since you have kept a close eye, we saw your tweets, we saw your post, and time to time you are bringing these issues in the front line.
Yes.
And my question is this a institutional corruption? Is this a systematic collapse? Because we have seen the protest, not only in Alberta, but we have seen those protests, those kind of protests here in Ontario also before.
Absolutely.
So what is happening in Canada? And recently there was a raid by the Cbsa. Is a raid or a visit on the site where the protesters were there? It has happened for the first time. So what is the ground situation?
So the ground situation, yes, there is institutional systemic corruption that we are seeing. And this is something not that I'm talking in general, it's something that has been published in last 1 week by Indian media as well as Canadian independent media. And let's bring it to the attention of the listeners that no mainstream media has covered the story, even though there are enough evidence on the table indicating that someone from the government of Alberta government was involved or is involved in what exactly is going on. And this is very important to understand, because usually what happens is somebody is protesting. We simply label them that they are wrong, that they should be leaving the country, that, you know what, it was their permit condition, that once your permit expires, then obviously you are supposed to comply to that and you should leave. So, and they finished their studies, they applied for their work permit, and all that program, the PGWP program under which they applied, is also set by the same government, is also part of the entire process of bringing people over on study and then having them gain experience over here, and then leave country, because earlier it was study, work and stay. So government took care of the part where they said that, you know what, you can no longer stay if we don't need you. Then only study and work remained, and now they have removed the work apparently as well, and there is a reason behind it, that people need to understand that what exactly is happening and how politics is being played with international students as well as Canadians.
Mr. Sera, like, we want to understand, is whose fault is it? We may not say it's a government fault. We may not say it's a IRCC fault. We may not say that these are the protesters' fault, because every single person, including the government, including the system, including these protesters, because they were aware that these are not the credit courses, the colleges, the private colleges, private and public sector partnership, they were also aware that they may not get a work permit, but still they admitted them with the fees. And government also knew about it. And why they allowed at the first place, that's why I asked, is this a system collapse? Because same protest we saw in Ontario also.
So what happened in Ontario was a bit different, because those were the people whose work permits were expiring and they were asking for an extension policy. The recent protest that was in 2025 end, that was more towards the Ontario skilled trade files being returned. And after almost 2 years, and they were like, you know what, why the government is doing that? They took it to the court as well. Recently there has been hearing on that matter, and then they are waiting for the decision to come in. So that's, I guess, is the proper way of doing things. But what happened in Alberta is very different, and it sheds light on how the whole post-secondary education system has been corrupted, and how people in power in politics, they are closely hand in gloves with the culprits. So what exactly happened? And this is very interesting. So in 2022, Daniel Smith government comes into power in Alberta. Now around the same time, there is this unscrupulous immigration agents in Jalandhar. So around the same time, so they decide to buy a college, a private college in Calgary. So CIOT, Calgary. Apparently, because so they are coming from Jalandhar. So apparently, Daniel Smith makes someone, Rajan Sani, as an advanced education minister in the year of 2023 itself. Her background is also from Jalandhar, quite interestingly. Now, I don't know if it's a coincidence, what exactly is the connection over there. But then what happened is that these guys, when they come over here, now around the same time, the government, Daniel Smith, and it's all published in the public platform as well. They can check these news articles. Daniel Smith, along with Rajan Sani, they both decide to change the policy and to bring in for-profit or to make the for-profit diploma and degree institutions. So, CIOT Calgary, which is owned by unscrupulous immigration agents, especially and quite interestingly, someone who was arrested in 2013 by the local government in Punjab, India, for immigration fraud, international immigration fraud.
And they were running Pyramid E-Services, the recruitment firm.
Yes. So that happened, and they ended up buying CIOT Calgary, and then the government public college tied up with them, had a partnership with them. Now, before that also, apparently, the college was allegedly dealing with them on an agent basis. So they were already in partner with them. Now, obviously, they might have promised them volumes, and what exactly was promised, it remains between both the parties. But then, students were sent over here in a non-credit courses. Now, some of those applications were actually submitted by Pyramid E-Services by themselves. So that's a major conflict of interest. And owned by someone, 80% of the stake is owned by the managing director of Pyramid E-Services, Pavnoor Singh Bedi. Now, and all those documents, all those Canadian corporation documents has also come to light as well. Thanks to Juno News that
they
did the dig-in, and they brought those documents up, and they did a proper story on that as well. which came less than a week ago.
Yeah.
So what ended up happening is that when these students came down over here, then they were told, or they had this kind of maybe an idea that maybe they've never heard about credit and non-credit, so they just wanted to check with their public college. So they went to Portage College, they asked them, right, that you know what, we came into this course, are we eligible for PGWP? College gave it in writing that yes, you are eligible.
Okay.
Yes, so they have given it in writing, in emails proper, that yes, you can continue doing this course and then you will be awarded your post-graduation work permit.
But even though these courses were the hobby courses, these were not credit courses, these were
See,
hobby courses.
We can call it hobby courses, but then end of the day, even a business diploma is a hobby course, right? So around 1 million people did a useless business
courses.
diploma on the weekend. So how could you differentiate between that? They were doing, let's say, a course called teacher assistant. Teacher assistant is much better than business diploma. Or they were doing anything like business administration. Now, how would you differentiate between business administration and a business diploma? As a layman, for you, how would you confirm that the course that you are enrolled in is going to be any benefit to you? Or is it going to get you the post-graduation work permit? You will approach the college. Now keep in mind, because it was labeled as or marketed as PGWP awarding course, they were charged around $20,000, $18,000 to $20,000 on an annual basis. So 2-year course would cost around $36,000 to $40,000.
Yes.
Now had they told them the truth that you know what, this course is not going to be getting you the PGWP, they would have not paid even $5,000 or
But here the government, the
$8,000.
Alberta government says that these students, they were aware that these are the non-credited courses.
No, Danielle Smith in her video mentioned this very clearly, that there was an oversight by the college.
Okay.
She agreed that the college may have misled the students into believing that they will get a PGWP. She has not denied that factor.
Okay.
And this is what makes it more interesting. That yeah, we understand that our colleges may be at fault, but then you need to go.
Then
right.
IRCC statement came out in June that these are not the new rules, these are the old rules, and in June we just updated it, that just a reminder that these were the non-credited courses and you won't get a work permit on these basis.
So there is no written guideline anywhere in the law or in the operational guidelines, anywhere where it was mentioned that there's going to be a differentiation between the credit and non-credit courses. And that was one of the major reasons why the only source for confirmation that will it be accepted by IRCC was the college administration.
Okay.
Now keep in mind, we are talking about Portage College, which is approximately 553 kilometers away from CIOT Calgary.
College. Yes.
So what it means is that this is in Lac La Biche, right? That's the city name where it is based. That's a rural Alberta. Their population is approximately 8,000. So a college that is located in a town that's populated only 8,000 people is inviting 5,000 international students into Calgary with the help of unscrupulous immigration agents. Now in the governance of a minister who also comes from the same region, and this whole thing doesn't sound fishy to anybody, I'll be surprised. And you know what, it's very interesting that in last week international media covered the story, the connection. Canadian independent media, Juno News, covered this story, and somehow Danielle Smith and what happened yesterday about the Cbsa raid, I think it's all interlinked.
How you see the Cbsa rate? Is that because Cbsa is in their parameters, their duties, that if anyone who has an expired status and they are protesting with all the encampments, all those tents, so Cbsa has a right to go and ask them, but it has happened for the first time. How you see that?
So first of all, I think the protest has been happening for over 20 days, over 3 weeks, right? Where were they 3 weeks in these 3 weeks?
Because the reports came that some people, local residents, they complained to the Cbsa that these things are happening and many of them are out of status and they are protesting. So Cbsa went there to ask and who have the status and who don't have the status.
So after watching this video, I will be requesting the viewers to also report to CBSA that there is a college in Calgary, CIOT Calgary, which is owned by unscrupulous immigration agents, and kindly do a raid on that college as well, and try to find out that who the real owners are.
The owners might be in India, not here, right?
They're not even in India.
Okay.
Though that guy is so scared that he has flown, I guess, to Dubai, right? Because the Tribune, when she tried to, the reporter who covered that story and published it in the Tribune India, they tried to reach them, and he confirmed that he's in Dubai. Now, very interestingly, the fact over here is that I believe that some of the money that was paid as tuition fee never even made to Canada.
I see.
So there needs to be proper investigation into that as well. But then we are talking about CBSA. Now, the chronological order of how things unwrapped yesterday is that's what makes me suspicious, or should make everybody suspicious. So in the morning, local police, Calgary police reaches the protest site and asks the protesters to get rid of the tents, that they are illegal, you can't have tents over here, and they ask them to get rid of them. So, and that happens in the morning, early morning around 11:06. That's when Danielle Smith on her social media posts a video that students should leave Canada. A video that is not a recent one, it's about a week old when Mark Carney was there. So 11:06 she does that. Around 11:30 CBSA reaches the protest site. And then they start grilling the protesters over there. They start asking them about their status.
Because the Alberta government's the stand is very clear. If you have an expired status, you just have to leave, and giving a study visa does not give you authority to stay in Canada. That is the government stand, because that came out from the tweets from Danielle Smith along with the Prime Minister.
But here's the problem. Usually when the refusal happens,
then you have a 90 days.
Then you have 90-day period. I understand it's an out of status. They're still considered out of status. But even when, let's say they are called over, right? Even if CBSA catches them, let's say they haven't applied for their restoration, they would never order exclusion orders. Exclusion orders basically mean, and the way it unwrapped, because 11:30 they went over there and they were called for the interview right away at 2 o'clock. Usually that doesn't happen. They give them a day or 2 day time that, you know what, appear on Friday, appear on Monday. But they were asked to appear at 2 p.m. Now, when they appeared over there, allegedly, I haven't seen it myself, but there have been reports that they have been ordered exclusion orders. So exclusion order basically means a 1-year ban. It is an unofficial 1-year ban, but they won't be approved visa now for Canada.
That remains in the system.
And they must leave Canada immediately.
That's right.
So this is, they could have simply asked them to leave and furnish something like a, they could have given them a departure order. They could have told them.
How many exclusion orders issued by CBSA?
So there were approximately 10 people who were called to the interview, and I am assuming that that at least half of them must have been given the exclusion order, if not all. But I don't have the exact count. I'm not going to misquote that over here.
Approximately 9 to 10, what the report says.
What I got to know. And so
there are people from Ontario also, those who went to Alberta to support those kind of a protest. Being generally, because for last couple of years, I think in last decade, all the mess started in Canada, Mr. Kanwar, and you yourself as a registered consultant, we know what happened. We have seen the Auditor General's report where they blasted the International Study Visa Program. We have seen the CBSA's intelligence classified report in which they mentioned that criminal centered, even Goldie Brar, he entered as a student here in Canada, then applied for a refugee. Lists are very long. Some students might be innocent, some might be aware that these things are happening, but our system was so lethargic, so weak, even though we had lot of immigration ministers before and they got promoted to different ministries. Accountability lies with whom?
So accountability lies with the government, and the government hasn't changed. Let's not pretend that Mark Carney is coming from conservatives. He's coming from the same Liberal Party, same ministers who were previously immigration minister. They are now the justice minister, or they are now into other ministries, right? But then we have to understand that this system that you're talking about that brought all these gangsters, all these, I would say,
Criminals.
unvetted individuals into Canada, the biggest problem is that the whole pipeline, that hasn't gone down. That is still, it exists.
Yeah.
That is my problem. And this is what we have seen in recent protests as well. And these protests, one of the biggest thing that this protest brings to light is that the pipeline will stay and the victims, right? The victims who are, has Goldie Brad been deported?
Yes.
No.
No.
He hasn't been deported yet, right? Has all the criminals who have been found, have they been deported?
No.
Some of them claimed asylum.
Yes.
So what was CBSA doing over there?
Of course.
So my question
And
is
CBSA
that,
works under the federal government.
and CBSA works under the federal government, and there is a news today, I think the Globe and Mail posted it, that there was a bill passed by the House of Commons under C20 that questioned that, you know what, CBSA itself is infected with this racism, with mishandling of the processes, with corruption, and that there needs to be an oversight body. And that hasn't been set up in last 2 years. So basically we are talking about a body, a department which is itself infected, right? And now we are punishing the people who are the victim of this fraud, and we are not addressing who are the real culprits. So who are the real culprits? Does Pavnoor Singh Bedi, the person who is sitting in Dubai, who owns this institution, CIOT Calgary, still owns the institution? Who allowed them to come to Canada, Calgary, open an institution and tie up with the public institutions? Who allowed that?
My question is that the only CIOT college, or
there are more?
Because in Canada, across Canada, Ontario, BC and Alberta and Manitoba side, there are a lot of private colleges.
Yes.
There is lot of nexus between private and public sector.
There are over 1100.
And we had seen that immigration consultant, they have opened an employment agency with the same name.
Yes.
They have opened a college, and there were incidents of the extortion because everything is interlinked.
Absolutely.
We did a report with Mr. Vishal Sharma, who was being extorted. But when we came to know he was a ghost consultant operating his same immigration consultancy here without having a license. So there is a total collapse, total systematic collapse, because government knew this, CBSA knew this, and they let it happen for a long time. Result is in front of us, Mr. Kanwar.
Because licensed immigration consultants cannot be student recruitment.
Yes.
They cannot do student recruitment, they cannot be recruiters. The problem over here is that the government allowed individuals with shady past to come over here and buy the colleges. Now, here's a very interesting part. If we think this is just an Alberta problem, no, it's not. In Ontario, very recently, on August 1st, the government changed the OSAP policy, right, where they have now made some big changes, big cuts to the
grants and the loans. Changed,
Now, there was an investigation that was conducted by the Ontario government in which 5 colleges were found out to be having, they were having fake enrollments. They were doing shady business, and they were basically siphoning off the OSAP money to their own purpose, or whatever they were doing. That wasn't investigated.
Few locations of Academy of Learning also.
3 of them, Academy of Learning, they are actually owned by Gurinder Patti, who is also an unscrupulous immigration agent and now a real estate baron in India.
And having a tie-up with Salman Khan for selling his real estate, what is coming out in social media?
Well, Salman Khan has understanding with the underworld as well. It's not.
So it means that Salman Khan might not be aware that these things are
I have no idea. But end of the day, we have to understand this thing, that how this is not just about international students. OSAP, usually the PR and the citizen youth, they qualified for it. So they're even scamming the Canadian youth as well. And nobody is talking about how these people, and keep in mind the 2013 raid that I'm talking about, that was published in newspapers across our region in Punjab. The other name that was published and arrested in that was Gurinder Patti.
He was arrested.
He was arrested. And then how come that guy is able to buy not just 1, 2 or 3, but I guess he owns 12 or 18 colleges. I guess in one of the podcasts, he did mention that he owns 18 colleges
In Canada?
In Canada. And there was a Granville, if I'm not wrong, if I'm not misspelling it, a college in Vancouver.
Okay.
That about
Granville Island, there is a Granville
Yes.
Island. Yes.
So 2 or 3 years ago, that college was blacklisted for getting involved in such activities where they did a fraud with an international student.
Wow. And there was a report, we have those documents that WWICS, which was a big name.
Yes.
So they were having a like court orders against them in the Vancouver court and one more court, two court orders.
But then if we have to get into any business operations,
Yes.
or any new person has to even get a Cbsa job, there's a proper background check
Yes,
that
due
is done on
diligence
those
happens,
individuals. So who ignored the background check on these individuals? I am pretty sure this wasn't not just that they ignored it, or you know what, they probably didn't do it properly. No, I think there is a political connection over here.
Okay.
Somebody within the Canadian government, even if we are talking about provincial level,
Yes.
they got involved. And they are the one who allowed the government to look at the other side while these people owned these institutions. Now, I don't know what their cut was, but that's what needs to be investigated. Because
But
if we
government
don't.
said, yes, government said, Liberal government said that everything is under control. We have taken the immigration back in our control and everything is normal and controlled. Is that a correct statement?
No, it's not. So let me tell you why the government is doing this. There have been in first 5 months, from 1st of January till 31st of May, 2026, this year, in 5 months, there's been over 500,000 work permits issued by the Canadian government, breaking all records of work permits issued in any year-on-year comparison. Over 200,000 post-graduation work permits have been issued. Record number. Last year, if I do a month comparison, last year, May, approximately 8,800 plus work permits were approved for post-graduation work permits.
Yes.
This year, 40,000 plus have been issued. 40,000 plus. So they have not taken control of the immigration. Rather, what they've done with this credit, non-credit is actually a diversion. They want people to think that, you know what, we have gone strict and we have taken control of immigration, and see, that's why people are protesting. There is a whole planning behind this thing by the government, and this I'm talking on the basis of the data that is available on IRCC website. And no newspaper has published this thing, no media has published this thing, has gone into detail that how many work permits have been approved and what are the historical aspect of it. They're breaking all records, and that also during the record, we are facing recession, right? Or technical recession, right? And during the record youth unemployment rate. So this is what the government is playing both sides. That's what's happening,
both
right?
sides, and you said the accountability lies with the government. It's their responsibility, CBS's responsibility to make the system in place. If the system is shabby, if the system is shaggy, so these so-called fake consultants or dubious consultants, they will keep on finding those loopholes.
So in 2023, there was an issue, similar issue with the deportation of,
Yes.
there are 700 students,
Yes.
that time it was
Yes.
quoted. Now around that time, CBSA issued similar deportation orders
Yes.
for the students.
Yes.
We requested to the government to do a proper investigation, and
Yes.
when they did a proper investigation, they got to know that 60% of them were actually victims. And that actually ended up bringing a major change to the whole system, to the study visa system, where they introduced the provincial attestation letter system, so that the offer letters could be verified. This is very important because what happened in 2023 protest and then investigation led to something substantial. CBSA at that point also, under the influence of whatever political forces, or even if they were doing their job, they rushed to issue the departure orders or
Yes.
the removal orders,
Yes.
right? Now also they did the same. Who's going to do the investigation? Is the federal government going to do the investigation? Is the CBSA going to do the investigation? How many gangsters have been brought by such private colleges into Canada? Will that be looked after? Will that be investigated or not? Because
Yes.
this won't shut down. If
So
we are gonna
is the mass deportation the solution? Because many parties, many people, they are demanding the mass deportation, and we have some figures here. In 2026, total deported people 10,607. These are deported. Out of this, 3,300 approximately were Indians. Number one on the list. In 2025, 3,700 Indian people, they were deported. Total were 23,000 people deported in 2025, and the data goes long. There were wanted, those who are wanted by the CBSA, 33,000 approximately. Removal in progress 29,000, removal not possible 26,000, and no action required so far. Those who are missing 481,000.
So let me ask you one question. In March, the government brought in C12, right? In C12, they said there's approximately 30,000 people who will be ineligible to apply for asylum.
Apply for the asylum.
Were they deported? Are they added to that wanted list
No.
or removal inventory?
No.
Where are those people?
Nobody knows.
And CBSA is doing nothing about those people.
Yeah.
They're not going after those. They're going after the people who are within their restoration period.
Yeah.
Is this a joke that's going on right now?
Seems a joke.
Right? There is approximately over 1 million out of status people, and CBSA priority is going after the people who are protesting. Because something there's something shady going on within the government.
Yes.
There are protests by IRGC members, the one that is designated as a terrorist organization in Canada, and CBSA doesn't have the guts to go to that protest and arrest those people.
Yes.
So what exactly, like this is basically a targeting, dedicated targeting by CBSA on whose order? I'm not saying that this is based on community. I'm not saying it is racism, right? I'm just bringing to the point one aspect that the way this happened and the way the media started reporting and basically shedding light that how Daniel Smith may be involved in all this scam and the government might be involved in the scam. She's trying to get rid of those students who are being the forefront of that investigation. Why is she getting rid of those people? Shouldn't they be part of the investigation as well? That how were they brought into Canada?
Do you believe that there should be an investigation for last 5 years approximately, because CIOT college came into the limelight because of these issue?
Yes.
But private colleges across Canada, including all the provinces, same thing might have happened. They might be registered into a non-credited courses, into a hobby courses, and they got PR.
And I'll tell you what is happening.
Peer to peer the schemes.
Absolutely. And you know what? I'll tell you what is happening in the future, right? What's going to happen. So these private players, they made so much money.
Yes.
Now they are opening private colleges and universities in India. And they are tying up, or they are having these memorandum of understandings with these colleges and universities in Canada.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
And they will be offering degree programs 2 year in India, 2 year over here.
Okay.
Same people. They're going to again make money over it.
Yes.
They're again going to committing them permanent residency and PGWP. That is exactly happening right now because the Pyramid Services guy owns a college with whom Seneca College and Canadore College, both public colleges of Ontario, have signed a memorandum of understanding. Will they make it public? What was that memorandum of understanding?
What is our government's responsibility? Like, are they not responsible? Because our government's minister, they went to India in the Mumbai, Bombay side, and they said we need more international students. This must be in their knowledge also that these private colleges are doing these. Study 1 year in India, 2 years in Canada, you will get a PR.
So I'll tell you a very interesting aspect. Liberals went to Mumbai.
Yes.
Conservatives went to Punjab.
Yes.
Conservatives, they had their own delegation.
Yes.
Rajan Sani was a part of it. Although since 2025, she's a Minister of Indigenous Affairs. What is the responsibility of Minister of Indigenous Affairs to go to India in a private university and make a public statement over there that, you know what, this whole relation between both the countries is doing wonderful with the international education and we need more students. This was a public statement given by a minister of Alberta government of Daniel Smith in Punjab in February of 2026. Even the conservative federal ministers went over there, met the same guys who were alleged. One of those guys actually, one of the MLAs, right, who was former minister as well, was recently released, bailed from the jail, whom the conservative MPs from Canada went and met and had a lunch or a dinner. Now, we are not going to talk about that, right?
Yeah,
So
of
what
course.
exactly is going
Yes.
on over here?
Yes, we don't know. It's a total complex, and we that's why we said it's a systematic collapse.
And then they come
it's
back.
Institutional corruption.
Absolutely.
A big time.
And then they come back and they have the guts to say and to make public statements about mass deportation.
Yes.
The first ones to be deported are the corrupt politicians.
That's right.
That have corrupted the system to the core. That is actually going to
They
cause
won't
a
be
lot
deported.
of
They are
damage.
Canadian citizens now. They won't be deported, but they should be bring in front of the law, face the consequences, because that is we have the weaker law. That's
Yes.
another subject, Mr.
Yes.
Kanwar. What is the reason in these protests, in these Calgary protests, in the Ontario's protest, and for last 4 or 5 years we have seen all the protests, all kind of protests. Why our Indians, and why dominating from the Punjab area that these kids are protesting and they are on the roads? We started from the Algoma University to the OSAP issues to the Calgary CIOT College. Why Punjabi students, why Indian students, they are victims or they are the sufferers?
Now we know why. Because the colleges were actually owned by through which these whole private players got involved, and they brought in a lot of students from India. There were protests around in 2022, 2023 as well, because there were over enrollments that were done. So the same guys who had an immigration business in India, Punjab, they were the ones who were running colleges over here, and they were the ones who were making package deals
Yes.
and bringing these people over here, not on the pretext of doing studies, but on the pretext of just entering Canada.
Entering Canada.
And that exactly what happened. And that's why, as you suggested, there needs to be a proper investigation into this matter.
Yes. House of Commons should take a lead in that, to that, make a committee.
Absolutely. But which party would take the lead? The party that went in February to Punjab? Or the other party that whose own minister developed these such weak policies that led to all this mess? Who's going to investigate this? The local provincial ministers that are hand in gloves with these unscrupulous players? So
what is your statement on Auditor General's International Student Fraud Programs and CBSA's intelligence classified report? How you see that?
I think it's a very critical step. That's something that should have opened eyes, but it got buried.
But we knew these issues for last 5-7 years. We knew that this is happening.
Yes, and there's going to be a report after 4 years as well, saying that there were private-public partnerships. There was a lot of corruption in that, and by that time, these guys have made tons of money and probably moved to Switzerland.
Yes. So we are talking today, and after the couple of years, the report will come that this happened.
This is the unfortunate truth right now is that Canadians are being scammed of their taxpayer dollars. When we are bringing people of any sort whose major objective is not study, or who are coming in the pretext of international student program, end of the day, the social cost of keeping them in Canada is going to be much higher to the amount that they brought in. And we also don't know that if they actually brought that money into Canada, or was that funneled to Dubai real estate.
The real estate. So now the options with those who have the expired work permits, 90 days period to find an alternative.
Yes.
Or to file a judicial review, or the third option, which is going on now, the marriages. And we know after a couple of years we'll see the marriage issues, the shooting, because these were the compromised marriages, and there is a same-sex marriages also happening. We heard the reports. Is that kind of things came in front of you, that these things are happening, the fake marriages, the same-sex marriages, and the
$45,000 to $50,000 is the current quoted price that I've heard many people tell me that they went to some XYZ person and they said that pay us this much money and then this is what we can get done, right? But then CBSA doesn't raid those people.
Yes.
CBSA is there to raid only the people who are protesting on the roadside. I think even they have become very lazy. They just want to target the people who are easy targets, right? Just go pick them up. You don't even need to round them up because they're already over there, right? But then there needs to be a proper investigation. See, I think CICC, we did last time we did a discussion on this thing. CICC has failed. We have to accept that. Canadian Immigration Ministry has failed. There needs to be a proper separate entity that needs to be set up just to investigate all this fraud.
Of course.
And in a time bound manner, in a 6 months or a year fashion.
That's right. Investigate all the frauds
Everything,
happened
just dedicated towards the fraud, what is
secure
happening.
the future of the immigration.
Because otherwise, we'll see that genuine applicants, they will be punished, and the ones who are committing fraud, they will be made permanent residents or citizen of Canada, which will lead to more corruption, more systemic discrimination, and a total collapse of society in the near future, if we make the wrong people permanent part of Canada.
Final question, 45,000 invites for the French mass immigration. These are not the targeted for the occupational things, these are just the invitee to fill those gaps. What do you say?
So the government is not making public the information that what is the knock code of the people that have been selected.
Yeah.
Are these doctors? Are these engineers? And there's already there are screenshots going viral online saying that the government, the immigration, they are sending them these PFL letters, procedural fairness letters, asking that they believe that their French exam test, the TEF or TCF certificates are fake. So are these the people, see some of those countries, the one that are the top source countries for French Francophone immigration, they have already been blacklisted by countries like India.
Yes, your final words to the Immigration Minister, Lena Metlish-Diab, what they should do, resign or fix the system?
Fix the system, as simple as that. She
Okay.
won't resign.
Okay.